So as the draft wraps up, we've now had all 32 picks go through. I know that Harmon hates saying what he's thankful for, but maybe we could take a moment here and just get a little recap. So like one big thought from each of us on what we saw tonight. One move, one moment, one thing that stands out, one impression. It doesn't really matter. C-Rob, one thing that stands out to you from tonight.
Everyone's talking about Penix. Tonight, they're going to talk about it tomorrow. They're going to talk about it next week when people do the draft recap. Everyone's going to ask, how could this have happened? What is Atlanta doing here? What does the future look like for this guy, as well as Kirk Cousins? So to me, I'll just say I'll take the moment. That moment, I mean, even for us, to sit there and stare at my phone and go, I don't believe this. Like, there's no way of saying this out loud, because that will be look at this idiot saying this. This was the dumbest thing we heard today. And then it happened. That is the unpredictability. What did I pick at the beginning? I said the chaos, right? I wanted to see the chaos. Man, I did not see. That's like the moon slamming into the earth.
Harmon, one thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes back to a few of these teams really trying to set their quarterbacks up for success with wide receivers, right? Brian Thomas to Jacksonville, that was critical. I think that's something they need to complete that room and to help Trevor Lawrence take the step to the point where we're not having that conversation about, is he a $50 million quarterback? Like, we're not having a conversation because it's a clear-cut answer. This pick that we just saw was Xavier Legette to Carolina. They don't want to leave any doubt about Bryce Young, right? They don't want to do what the last coaching staff did. By the way, the last coaching staff did spend a second-round pick on Jonathan Mingo, who's kind of like the poor man's version of Xavier Legette, but that is just worth noting. And then, of course, all the way back at the top, you take Caleb Williams first overall, you take Rome Odunze, even though, oh, cool, we've got two starting receivers. We're never chasing weapons when we have our guy, and that is what the Bears, I think, now have.
Gordon, one big thing from tonight.
Yeah, I think my thing is no running back, no linebacker, no safety, and only 3 corners. So it was all linemen and all skill, which was kind of surprising because toward the end of the first, you kind of get those positional needs. Do I need a guard? Do I need a safety? Do I need that? They didn't mess around. They went for the skill and the linemen.
Damien.
No running backs. It hurts my heart. But, I can say this confidently. There's a lot of guys that provide a lot of value that are going to go in day 2. And like I said at the beginning, once the first team, takes their I don't want to say risk, but takes their chance on a running back, I know that that's a position where a lot of other teams will follow. It happened in my draft class. Remember, the first, Josh Jacobs was taken first. I think Miles Sanders was taken after that, and then there was a little bit of a lull. And then in the 3rd round, I think it might have been David Montgomery. Once he got drafted, then it was like Devin Singletary and myself, or, a bunch of other guys. So, even though there were no first-round running backs, I know there's a lot of talented guys that are going to go in day 2.
For me, if you look back at this draft, for the most part, obvious glaring exception being Michael Penix Jr., I think maybe we need to start realizing as we grade drafts and as we do these mock draft exercises, the league has more self-control than we give the league credit for having. Most of these teams tonight were very calculated, and most teams simply let the draft board come to them. We spent months speculating about trades and reaches and dumb picks and who would leverage what. And really, for the most part, we saw a best player available where people just let the board fall where it may, and they let a talented draft allow talent to get to the right teams. I thought it was a controlled draft overall.
Philly let their corner get to him. Mm-hmm. The Vikings pretty much let their quarterback get to him, right? I mean, I think the Rams were thinking about moving up, but in that 3-guy stack that they like, Turner, Verse, and Murphy, one of them got to him. They didn't have to move for it. You're right. I mean, there was definitely more restraint than maybe we thought there would be.
Other than 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks,
Right,
a historic night we will never forget.